Hello again. Today we're going to tie this grayling jig nymph. It's almost like a generic pattern, just made up of materials that I know work. This obviously fishes that way up in the river, being a jig nymph, which makes it good for sort of bouncing along the bottom where the grayling normally are, to be fair. So we're just going to get on and tie it, and I'll explain everything else as we go. So in the vise, this is a Hanak hook. It's a H45XH, and it's a barbed jig hook. This in the vise at the moment is a size 12. Normally when I'm using them to actually, sorry about the squeaky bobbin, normally when I'm using them for actually fishing, I don't normally use them as big as this, but just for the video I just thought I'd tie a size 12. Normally I'm using 16s and sometimes 14s. Thread is UTC Florashell Pink, and it's in 140. Sorry about the squeaky bobbin again. The bead on there is a 3.2mm tungsten bead, and we're just going to do some wraps up by the bead, and then I'm going to come back just before I go round the bend. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten out the thread, because I'm going to put a little tag, a little pink tag at the back. So I'm just going to flatten out that thread. Just going to come down in touching turns, a little ways round the bend. There we go, and then I'm going to come up, and then I'm going to go back 3/4 of the way. Oops. Try and make this as neat as you can. We're going to be putting a marker pen on this as well, just to brighten up the pink. And then end up with your thread on the top. And now I'm just going to take a waterproof marker. This is a Sharpie, and they're just really good, actually. It's got a fibre from the thread there. I'm just going to see if I can get rid of that. And now we're going to do a few coats of this pink just to brighten it slightly. So come around with the marker pen. Good thing with these Sharpies is A, they are waterproof, and B, they dry really, really quickly. So you don't necessarily have to wait for this ink to dry. You can just colour it in, do a few coats, and then just let it dry, and it just brightens it slightly. It's a lovely sort of baby pink, I'd call it. Now for the tail. This is guinea fowl dyed pink, and we're going to take, I like to put a few more fibres than I need in my tail, so I reckon I've probably got 10 fibres here, something like that. I don't count them. Measure about a hook shank in length. So we're going to catch that on the top. Just check my length. It's a little bit long, so I'm just going to come back a little tiny bit. There we go, I'm happy with that. Do another turn to hold it, and then cut these fibres full length of the body. Now for the rib, I'm going to use, this is Mirage Tinsel by UTC, and it's in a medium size. So I'm going to add that full length of the body again, catch it, take your thread up, tying it all in as you go. Take your thread back till we meet the tail again. There we go. And now dubbing for the body, I'm going to use fox squirrel. It's a nice spiky dubbing. I do like fox squirrel as a dubbing. So I'm just going to take some of that. Don't be shy either with the dubbing, because when we rib it, it will flatten it down a little bit. So I'm going to put some on, slide it up. We're going to need a little bit more than that. Take your time doing the dubbing. Just got to try and hook some out of this little box here. Oh, excuse me. Right, yeah, take your time doing the dubbing. You know, it's like anything. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing properly. So just add that on, and we'll see where we are with that. So I'm just going to come over and just take the dubbing up. Like I said, don't be too shy of the dubbing. You want a little bit on this for this fly. I've found this bit's just misbehaving me. See what I mean? If you don't really take a lot of time and care putting the dubbing on, you can say mess it up is the wrong word, but you want it to stay on, right? I'm going to take that back. Like I said, get it looking how you want it to look. So if that takes a minute or so, then so be it. I mean, I've said this so many times when I've timed flies. If you don't get it how you want it, you won't tie it on. Once the dubbing's on there, I'm just going to take out any real long fibres, and now I'm going to come around with the rib. So I'm going to do a nice straight turn at the back, and we'll come up maybe 3 turns, something like that. Just turn up there, catch it, wind forward to that bead, wind back. I'm just going to double check my wax. This box of dubbing out my way. Wind back. There we go. And that'll never pull out like that. And then just have a look at this. Get rid of any really long fibres in that dubbing. Okay, that's lovely. Let me give him a little brush. There we go. There we go. Now I'm going to take some glister dubbing. Now this is in peacock. I'm going to wind the glister dubbing up to make a nice thorax. Brush this back, bring the thread in front of the glister dubbing, and now we're going to take some more of our guinea fowl, and this is going to be a little throat. So I'm going to take a lot less fibres than the tail, but I'm still going to take, I don't know, 8 fibres, something like that. I'm going to pull them off from the stem. As always, when we do it, we pull the fibres 90 degrees from the feather stem, which will line the tips up. So if I just pull these ones here 90 degrees from the stem, and you'll see the tips will naturally line up. Okay, now I'm going to get these in my hand the way I want them. Now I want this to come in, or I want it to come back just into the tail here. So I'll turn the fly upside down. It's just the easiest way I do it. First of all, I'm just going to trim for the length that I need. Hold it on, come over, catch it, do a couple of turns. Sorry if my finger's in the way. Move it to where you want it. Just going to trim a bit more of that away. Make sure we got wax on the thread for grip. You know, the wax just adds a lot of grip. And that's lovely. Okay, and now we're going to go back to our glister peacock, and we're just going to basically cover up those thread wraps and come in. There we go. We're going to move this back. Any really long ones we'll just remove. Have a look at your fly. There we go. I'm happy with that. There's a little tiny gap there, and I'm just going to try and fill that up. Really, for jig nymphs, you want a slotted bead. The slotted bead sits so much better on a jig hook, but I don't have one at the moment, so we're just going to Get some dubbing in there. Cover that up. That's lovely. And then we're going to whip finish. And it really is as simple as that. So as usual, varnish the thread like that. Try and get the fibres behaving themselves and going back, but you will trap some. Come in with a whip finish. 4 is plenty. Tighten it up. Trim. Oh, come on. There we go. Now, we did trap one. You normally do. Just going to get rid of him. There we go. And you just have a look at your fly. Fuss with it if you need to fuss with it. There we go. And there it is. That is just a little pink jig nymph variant. I don't know what you'd call it really, but it just works. It just works really well in the rivers for the grayling, and grayling are great fun to catch on the fly. If you've never fly fished for grayling, you're really missing out actually. So once again, if you've enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you're not already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help out. The more subscribers that I can get on the channel, the more videos I can make. So anyway, as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.